In a world where it is nothing but magic, science, conspiracies, and out of control priests, there is only one teen who can put an end to anyone's illusions, no matter what he or she is, at the cost of his own luck. At the same time, inside of the city, something fishy is also going on in the shadows, with third and the first rank and that same young boy getting involved. This is the final stop to Godzilla's singular point. And oh boy, it was a gigantic beast to tackle. Let's get into it, yeah? Welcome to the Brumakian podcast, an episodic review series where I can review anything but not everything. On this show, I cover any piece of entertainment, whether it be various tokusatsu films, Japanese or otherwise, and anime films and shows. This week is episode 56, Bad Luck, Cloning, and Insanity, my review of our Sudden Magical Index and its spin-offs. Now, some background will help. Just like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, A Certain Magical Index and its spin-offs are a light novel/manga series that was written by Kazuma Komachi back in 2004. Why am I old? That is still continuing to this day. And you might be wondering, what is a light novel? Well, a light novel is a style of Japanese young adult novel primarily targeting high school and middle school students. The term light novel is a waisai aigo, or Japanese term form from words in the English language. Light novels are often called renobe, or in English, LN. How many of them are there? Hundreds, probably thousands, and Index is one of those light novels that got an anime adaptation. Its spin-offs, A Certain Scientific Railgun and Accelerator, started off as mangas, and they too got their own anime adaptations respectively. The studio mainly responsible is JC Staff, an animation studio that is mostly a hit and sometimes a miss when it comes to their projects. Anyhow, the first season of A Certain Magical Index ran from 2008 to 2009. Its second season ran from 2009 to 2010 with 24 episodes each. Its third season, that came out 8 years later, yes really, ran from 2018 to 2019 with 26 episodes. And its feature-length film, The Miracle of Endymion, premiered on February 23rd, 2013 in Japan. Now, we come to its spin-offs. Firstly, A Certain Scientific Railgun. Its first season ran from 2009 to 2010. Railgun S, its second season, ran from April to September of 2013. And Railgun T, the third season, with a few episodes delayed because of COVID-19, ran from January to September of last year. And finally, Accelerator. Its single 12-episode season ran from the summer of 2019. That was a lot to uncover. And just like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm going to review all of them. Sort of. Even I had limitations after I watched all of the 3 parts of JoJo in one setting. So what I did was I watched the spin-offs that were connected specifically to the main series, A Certain Magical Index, specifically the first 26 episodes of Railgun S, the first 15 episodes of Railgun T, and all of Accelerator. So that's... Hold on. Around 117 episodes. In other words, all the first season Railgun and the Index movie, The Miracle of Endymion, will be excluded from this review. But I will gladly give them honorable mentions. The first season of Railgun, in my opinion, is really good. My only problem with it, though, is that it has some filler episodes. And as for the Index movie, I enjoyed that one as well. I'm giving both of them my score of 85 electric bolts and space elevators out of 100. Both are good enough to buy on Blu-ray. With those out of the way, let's get into the setting and the synopsis of each. As a whole, Raildex is set in a world where supernatural abilities are a reality. Individuals who possess special powers acquired via science are called espers. Those espers who gain their abilities without the aid of specific scientific instruments, whether at birth or otherwise, are referred to as gemstones. The others, known as sorcerers, gain their powers upon mastering the power of magic, either from obtaining knowledge from different mythologies or by using mystical artifacts, though the existence of sorcerers is a secret to the public. While sorcerers align themselves with different beliefs, espers are aligned with scientific institutions. This leads to a power struggle between the magic and science factions for the control of the entire world. And now, from the main series. The story of a certain magical index is set in Academy City, a technologically advanced independent city-state located in west of Tokyo, known for its educational and research institutions. The main protagonist, Toma Kamijo, is a student in Academy City whose right hand, the Imagine Breaker, has the ability to negate any supernatural power, but also negates its own luck, much to his chagrin. Poor guy. One day, Toma meets a young English girl named Index, a nun from Necessarius, a secret magic branch of the Church of England, whose mind has been implanted with, I hope I get this one right, the Index Librorum Prohibitorum. Hey, I got that one right the first time. Nice. With 103,000 forbidden magical books that the church has stored in secret locations. In other words, in her head. His encounter with her leads him to meet others from the secret worlds of magic and science. Toma's unusual power places him at the center of conflicts between the sorcerers and espers in Academy City, who try to unravel the secrets behind Academy City, Index, and Toma's unknown special power. In the series, it also has side stories featuring the two of the other main characters, besides Toma himself. One of them is Makoto Misaka. In her spin-off, A Certain Scientific Railgun, Misaka is what's known as an Electro Master, and it is the third of a mere 7 level 5. The show focuses on the exploits of Makoto and her friends prior and or during the events of a certain magical index. And then you have the top-ranked level 5 in his single spin-off, A Certain Scientific Accelerator. In that show, after protecting Glass Order at the cost of much of his power, sorry for that minor spoiler there, Accelerator now finds himself dragged into a new conflict in the form of a sinister organization called Disciplinary Action, which plots to use Last Order for a dangerous mission of some kind. Now that they have their plans set in motion and are in pursuit of the girl, it is up to the world's powerful Esper and his new companion, Esther Rosenthal, to protect Last Order and defend Academy City in the process. What a lovely babysitter. Anyway, trust me, there is a lot that goes on than what I just explained to you. Trust me. But like I said, it's a non-spoiler. After this 2-minute break, I will get into Okay, so you know how Marvel, DC, and even the Monsterverse are well known to being shared universes? Well, a certain magical index is like that. I cannot remember the last time another anime had this exact same story format. This show, believe it or not, despite the name, is not really about index. Later on in the series, it focuses on other characters and even side characters from time to time and brings them all together. It becomes very apparent in Index Season 2 and 3. Not to mention the spin offs are like that as well. But Kamachi, you could have benefited from having a little bit more time to develop. Okay, don't get me wrong, most of the arcs in Index can be ranged from good to great, but some of the arcs leave a lot to be desired. Season 1 of Index is good, with a lot of great moments. Season 2 is also good, and it's probably the best season of Index, if you remove the two filler arcs. Season 3, on the other hand, oh boy. Okay, so here's the thing with Index Season 3. It was rushed, and it was very apparent in the final arc of this. Okay, so here's the thing with the third season of Index. It was rushed. It was completely rushed. And it was very apparent in the final arc of the season. JC staff should have benefited from having a bit more time. But is it the worst season of Index? Disappointing, sure, but it's far from being the worst. I've seen worse. Trust me. And I still have some enjoyment with it. The spin offs, however, are far from the worst and disappointing. In fact, I would even say that they are better than the main series as a whole. I can tell that more time and effort went into them than Index, to which I find it very confusing, really. That's not to say that they are perfect, though. Even they too have problems. Mainly Railgun's filler and the first episode of Accelerator. Speaking of characters, almost every single character in this series is fantastic. Keyword almost, because there are a few characters that feel like empty spaces, but for the most part, it's top notch. Let's start with Toma. Kamijo is the man that gets shit done right, without question. He always saves someone's life without even asking, he just does it. And it's all thanks to his right hand or fist, the advantage breaker, or as I called it, the Kami punch. This guy and his Kami punch does not discriminate. He will punch any man, woman, child, black, white, tall, short, it doesn't matter. In a way, he's like the cloaker from Payday 2, but instead of saying,
"You call this resisting arrest? We call this a difficulty tweak."
It's, you call this discrimination? No, I call this gender equality. But he does come off as a hypocrite. He saves any random stranger but refuses help from anyone else. What is he, Batman? Well, on one occasion, he actually is. Next is Index, the most interesting and yet useless character of them all. You know, for a nut that has 103,000 books in her head, she doesn't do all that much but stuff her face and chomp on Toma like she's a crocodile. Pray for the young man.
God damn my luck!
Although, it is completely rare that she does. Now let's talk about Makoto Misaka, the second best character in Index and in her own show. And you might be wondering, what in the hell is so special about her? Well, for starters, her interaction / relationship with Toma is funny, charming, and just flat out adorable. And it also helps that she turns into a tsundere whenever she's around him. Another thing is what she can do with her electricity. She can stick onto walls like a magnet, or she can control the iron sand and turn it into a sword or whip, cutting anything instantly. Or, with one single flip of an arcade coin, plus the electro and magnetic force, with the Lorentz force, she can create a fucking railgun, hence her nickname. Also, another note to make, her sisters are absolutely hilarious. Alright, let me speed run through the characters that stand out to me. Kuroko Shirai, the animated incarnation of the Cloaker from Payday 2. This twin-tailed, justice-representing, railgun-loving yandere middle schooler will teleport like nobody's business and drop-kick anyone into a coma. Although she does need to work on her insults. Satin, the best girl in all of Railgun. Fight me, nerds. Tsuchi Mikado is easily the funniest character in Index. Same with Sugita in Railgun T. The fact that Tsuchi Mikado calls Toma Kami is really funny and really interesting. All of the other characters are unique, quirky, dull at times, and fun to watch. And then we come to the main man himself, Accelerator. And let me tell you when I say that, he is the best fucking character in the entire goddamn show, even in his own spinoff. Now, his ability is called Vector Transformation, and if you haven't paid attention in class, a vector is any quantity of magnitude and direction, meaning that he can control any vector that is thrown at him, and he can throw it back at the person or in any other direction. Overpowering? Yes, but thanks to a certain bullet to his head, his power is shrunk just a little bit and has a limiter that stays with him for the rest of the story. Kazuma Komachi, you goddamn genius. Aside from that, he is easily the best character, hands down. His development throughout Index is superb and really got me hooked, especially his friendly interaction with Last Order. I mean, come on, don't tell me he looks normal when he says this.
You won't really do it. I won't? Is that what you think? Let's see if you're right. Nope, I guess you were wrong. You should get to know your enemy better before you start issuing challenges.
I don't know about you, but that's the sound of a good babysitter. Speaking of sound, the voice acting is great, both in Japanese and English. It's a bit iffy in season 1 of Index, but by the time season 2, it has improved tremendously. They're all equally great. The overall animation in the first 2 seasons of Index are good. Season 3's animation is a bit rough in certain places. Railgun and Accelerator's animation are great. The music and all fits like a glove. My personal favorites are The Witch Hunter King and the one you heard a few minutes ago, "'Tis a Burnt Thing in the Flame." The openings range from good to holy shit, this is amazing. My highlights are Masterpiece, Only My Railgun, Shadow in the Light, and Gravitation, but my personal favorite is Roar, the latter of which became my intro for season 1 of the podcast, believe it or not. It's too bad I can't use it anymore though. Overall, A Certain Magical Index and its spin-offs is a worthwhile series to get into. The flaws that I mentioned do hamper the scores a bit, but it didn't hurt my enjoyment at all, even in Index 3. With that said, A Certain Magical Index, the first season, earns my final score of 75 punches with adversity out of 100. Railgun S earns 92 stages of grief out of 100. Accelerator gets a solid 80 hyena laughs out of 100. Index 2 earns 80 crazy nuns out of 100. Try saying that 5 times fast. Railgun T earns 88 imaginary dragons out of 100. And finally, Index 3 earns 68 things that are happening at once out of 100. All of them are good enough for a rent, a double rent, worth buying on Blu-ray and digital. Now, I am aware that Index is not done, well, in terms of its light novel. Its latest story, the New Testament, and the sequel, Genesis Testament, are available to read online. Now, would I like to see Index New Testament adapted into an anime? Yeah, of course. On the condition that JC staff go all in on that motherfucker. They need all the help they can get. And so, here we are. Only a few days left until it happens. You know, Japanese animation has evolved throughout the years. From its humble beginnings in the early 20th century, when it only lasted about 3 seconds, to becoming propaganda during World War II. From the transformation of popular classics like Astro Boy and Lupin III to bringing something new to the table in the 70s with mecha anime, with Gundam leading the charge. From the bust of the industry after the excellent Akira movie to its renaissance in the 90s with DBZ, Ghost in the Shell, and Cowboy Bebop. From the out of this world craziness of Fooly Cooly to the laid back and fantastic experiences with Your Name and a Silent Voice. From the plotting to batshit insane shenanigans in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to the down to earth and shared universe experience that is A Certain Magical Index and the spin-offs. And now there is only one anime left to go. And it is the reason why I decided to do this in the first place. Join me next time when season 2 ends and I get into a robot with a goofy face and face off against the king in the mysterious mist in Godzilla Singular Point.